Well, Fred, it's a great time right now as Coach Coughlin takes his rightful spot alongside you and Tony and the Weavers. It brings back a lot of great memories, and I know that's a man who had a lot of influence on you in your life.
Of course, and I lead with that, man. So many different influences from Coach Coughlin. I remember when I was in New England, I think it was my last year in New England, we played the Giants in the preseason game. And after the game, I sprinted across the field because I didn't want to miss the opportunity. Sprinted across the field, stopped him in the middle of the field. I said, Coach, I get it. Thank you. I appreciate you. I understand now what you were trying to do. You know, when I was in it, I thought you was crazy.
But, you know, I understand now. And that was a brief moment. And I fast forward to that following spring during the combine. We met each other again. We crossed paths right in front of an elevator at the host hotel there in Indy during the combine. Met at the elevator, which should have been a 3-minute encounter, saying hello, turned into an hour-long conversation.
Wow.
And as a player, no one wanted to talk to Coach Coughlin that long, so.
For sure.
But it shows you what growth looks like. It shows you what the message and what he was trying to instill in you, and that was to just develop you into a man. You know, that's all he ever tried to do. You're talking about the values, leadership, being accountable, moving with a sense of urgency, understanding balance. I think that's where I am as a father. That's the one thing I take the most away from him the most, which is balance. But I think more than anything, he was always consistent. He was always consistent.
The further away we get from that era, I can appreciate the difficulty of the task that he's doing. All right, you're taking 53 guys from a bunch of different backgrounds, from a bunch of different college coaches, grown men, and you have to and you have to incorporate it all. And you've got this guy that came from Steve Spurrier and how he's coached and how he treats this guy. Give us a correlation between playing for Steve Spurrier and playing for Tom Coughlin, and you're adding that to becoming a professional, right? There's a lot there that goes into it.
The correlation. I almost, Jeff, want to say there isn't any.
Yeah, right? That different.
Because, I mean, Coach Spurrier is more like loose and, funny and fun. And he wanted to win. Like, he wanted to win. Coach Coughlin was tough.
Driven.
Like, jokes. He ain't joke much. He had his own sort of funniness that was dry, and no one laughed about it. Most times, if you laughed or you were showing teeth, you probably would get fined for it. So I think the correlation is both men really wanted to win. Both wanted to see that you were going to respond to their coaching styles and put the work in. That's about it. They were both winners. They wanted to win. They're very competitive. I wouldn't say Coach Coughlin did not. I mean, Coach Spurrier did not sleep in the office. He didn't spend a lot of time in the stadium, but he found a way to connect with the players. You know, and as much as Tom, or as tough as Coach Coughlin was when he was here, he didn't always connect with the players, but on the field, he found a way to connect you. Like when it was time and when it mattered, that's when the connection was made. Not always in practice, not always in passing through the hallway, but on the field, game day, Sundays, that's when the real connection was made. And then eventually he got to the point where he learned how to make that connection with his players through still being tough, but also being able to listen and be able to be receptive, because he wasn't always that way.
Right.
And that helped him win those championships.
I think that's an excellent point, and that was where I was headed. He grew. You grew, but you were 22 years old. You were becoming turning into a man. He grew as a coach and a person through, his time here.
After you're set in your ways.
Yes.
After you think you know the answer.
Yeah, he knew, and he had to have people close to him and obviously figured it out even more so when he was with the Giants, and I think that is a big reason why it became a world champion twice.
Yeah, and I always ask our guests on our show, what's your biggest pivot? Like, that's one of my favorite questions to ask a guest. It's that one moment in life that you can look back on to say, without this occurring, I wouldn't be who I am today. And most guests, they always get stumped when they act. They have to really take some time and think.
Sure.
I think if I had asked Coach Coughlin what was his biggest pivot, at somewhere throughout his journey, he learned that he had to start listening. Because before, he was just, sergeant, general, like to the T, like, let's go my way or highway.
Right.
But you have to be able to listen just like a father, right? You have children. Sometimes, as much as you say, this is the way it needs to be done, your kids, they sit there and they absorb those things, but they just want you to listen to them. Sometimes, let me speak a little bit. I get that from my children. And as much as I think I'm right, a lot of times they're correct. So that just brings back so many memories, because Coach became, a world champion coach when he started to listen to his players and trust the players. Trust that he had done enough to get them to a point where they could just manage themselves, right? And I believe, that 99 team was a special team. Unfortunately, we fell short. But across the board, I still think that was his best team.
Yeah, even the
You're right.
championship team.
We didn't win it, but I believe that was his best team.
I was at your pro day workout. I left there knowing that dude was going to draft you. Did you, after that day, did you think those guys are going? If you don't go higher, even those guys are going to take me?
I probably left there thinking, don't draft me.
Yeah. That's funny.
He was the only coach that really stuck behind to say, no, I need to see more. I want to see more. I'm going to test you. You're not going to like it. I'm going to test you. I want to see what type of shape you're in. And he said, I'm going to run you. You're going to do these drills till your tongue fall. And at the time, I'm like, what's the disconnect? Like, we don't even know each other. Like, you're not even my coach. But it was a challenge. It was a challenge that he made. It was a challenge that I accepted. And I knew I had an opportunity to change, my family's trajectory and the dynamics and how I grew up. So I accepted the challenge. But at the moment, I thought he was crazy.
I can still see the video. It's ingrained in my, with him and the stopwatch. Yeah. And I think we shot, you guys shot it like as there. Freddy's coming down.
Fred's coming down
shirtless.
Looks like Apollo Creed on the beach.
And he had that look in his eye. He's like, this can't be right.
I remember doing the jump cut drill. Again and again and again. Come on, son. Do it again. And again. I'm like, okay. And, I didn't have any idea that I would be drafted to the Jaguars. As a matter of fact, I forgot that I didn't forget. I knew he worked me out the way he worked me out, and the other coaches, other teams didn't. But you go on your visits post-workout, and,
you didn't know?
No.
Yeah.
I did not have a clue, and not until that day came and I got a call from him. He said, young man, you ready to be a Jaguar? I'm not going to say no. It's the 9th pick of the draft. Of course, Coach. Of course I am. And made the call, made the selection. That changed my life. And then I remember getting here. Skip Richardson, the team security, still to this day.
Yep.
Skip brought me into town. We passed one of those billboards here, leaving the airport. And Skip was like, see that right there? I'm like, what? He's like, right there, you just hit the lottery. I'm like, huh? So we look up, it's the lottery sign. He's talking about the amount of money that I was going to get for being drafted. So Skip brought me in, and I got in, I did the press conference, that whole deal, and I remember going through an OTA practice, and I caught a back spasm, and I thought my career was over. I really didn't want to disappoint Coach Coughlin, because he went out and drafted me that high. So I felt like I was obligated to pay him back. I had to return something. So I thought my career was over. I never felt a pain like that a day in my life. And I remember Skip coming in the training room. It's like, you're going to be okay. Don't worry about Coach. Coach loves you. You're going to be all right. Coach is going to be tough. And this was OTAs before we got a chance to do anything. And, man, just little stuff, looking back on it, you see the journey. You see the life lessons. And a lot of who I am today and what I stand for as a father, as a person, as a friend, a lot of the same values that Coach had, you know, countlessly spent so much time trying to drill that into all of us. Some of us got it, if you wanted it.
Yeah.
And some of us sort of probably didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we knew Coach stood for what was right.
It's a good place to finish.
Yeah. Thank you, Fred.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
Sure.
you.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars.